Two paths. What are the two paths that are of utmost importance? One for the layman, the novice, and one for the adept and the master. Welcome, evolutionaries. Today I'm going to, I think, blow some of your minds. Now, I've kind of hinted around about some of this in the past in some of my other episodes and conversations that I've had with some of you. But today I'm going to really look at and dispel, which is some of the things I talked about in the very beginning when I launched this channel, is dispel some of these myths that have been taught fraudulently by people that are just cookie cuttering and copying things that are wrong. They don't have a true connection, if you will, to spirit or guides, and they also are reading doctrines that have been fabricated and made up. Probably the biggest one that I know of, well, actually there's quite a few, but one of the ones that have caused the most damage is the first two books on the chakra systems that were introduced into the Western world, which has now corrupted the Eastern world, and that was by John Woodruff. John Woodruff was a employee of the Rockefellers, and they purposely went in and talked about there being 7 chakras, which is false, because if you go back and look at the ancient Sanskrit, there are a couple different factions, but 9 or 12, depending on where and how you, probably the best way to describe it, what planet you came from. Because there are different chakra systems for different soul seeds and star seeds. So it's not like there's one that fits all. But the biggest crime they did was change the colors of the chakras, because a color is tied to a frequency. And if you are looking at attuning the chakras in your body based on a false color matrix, and by the way, just because the rainbow has the same color, that's in the physical world. You have to remember that chakras exist within the etheric. So the copy skate of what they've portrayed is absolutely false in God's kingdom. So while it's true in the physical, but the physical, this is not the kingdom of God. This is not the Garden of Eden. All that exists beyond this physicality, beyond this dimensional aspect. And so that is a huge fraud that has been perpetrated. Now, so what I want to do is step back, because when you look at the ancient teachings, specifically from Tibet, from thousands of years ago, there are 2 distinctive paths that people are taught. And one is the eye, the third eye, right? The anja. This is kind of funny, because back in the ancient text, they talk about anyone who takes the path of the third eye is the novice. They're the commoner. It is not meant for the adept, for the master. The adept and the master, the path for the master is always been through the heart, because the heart is the radiance of God here on earth. The third eye is based in materiality. It is based in the construct of this time and space. It doesn't have the ability to look beyond this time and space unless you're using the third eye as it is tied to the construct of the God force within you. The heart is the vessel for your soul and illuminates the solar sun within you. So let me kind of explain this in a little bit of different detail. Hopefully it'll make a little bit more sense than what I just said. So when you look at the third eye, most people, and I only know of maybe 2 or 3 teachers that actually understand that within the third eye there are micron crystals, approximately 20 microns in length. So these crystals, like a crystal radio, attuned to the frequencies in which you are pushing or connecting these the resonance of these crystals to. And so most people tie the resonance of these crystals to Kundalini. Now, Kundalini has some benefits because it is tied to the physical and sexual energies of this dimensional aspect of time and space. And so the Kundalini can help facilitate healing of the physical body when you are tuning it correctly with the third eye crystals, because it does help connect with your soul template and bring that back down. But that's just really the only aspect, because if you're using the third eye, you might be able to use it for war, remote viewing, and a few other things. But again, you're tied within the construct of this time and space. And some people, well, Joe, what about the astral travel and things like that? Well, I can tell you that everyone from Yogananda to just countless others have talked about the astral realm as being the demonic realm. The etheric realm, which I have always talked about, is the realm of the godly, the angelic, and that's really where I've always tried to connect you. And that's really where your soul template resides, is in the etheric. It does not exist within the astral. So if anyone ever has demonic encounter, possession, attachments, whatever, that all comes from the astral. That does not come from the etheric. So let me be very clear on that. The astral is this horrendous soup that is, well, it's just not a place you want to go. I mean, I've accidentally opened a portal or two years ago, before I knew what I was doing, into the astral realm, and had some pretty crazy encounters with some demons. And I don't recommend it unless you're prepared. But so really focus on the etheric, which is a higher frequency band, if you will, more godly. Well, it is godly in nature. It's not more godly. It is godly in nature versus demonic in nature. And I'm sorry, that probably shocks some of you who go like, well, I like astral travel. Well, it's, I mean, you get put on the full armor of God. Step in, play with the monsters. It's, I still do that occasionally, but it's not for the faint of heart. And it's really more going like you're going in for a trial to test something out, but you also have to have a way to get out. And you have to have friends, if you will, because there was one time that I got entrapped in the astral. And let me just say, a very powerful angelic had to come in and make things right. It was beyond the scope of where I was at the time. And so I just want to express that if you do step into the astral, be very cautious and always lead with your heart, because your heart has the power, the resonance of God. It is your soul, the aspect of who you are, to illuminate the God force. So, the Kundalini is the path of the commoner. Sorry, disappoint you. Actually, even my dead grandmother could do Kundalini, but yeah, that's who's saying. I mean, people learning Kundalini. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, there is a time and a place for Kundalini, but it is not part of an evolutionary or an ascension. Because if you think that Kundalini is ascension, it is sexual energy. It is earthbound energy. It originates from the lowest aspect of your chakra system. Which, why would you think that has anything to do with ascension? I mean, just from a common sense standpoint, it doesn't make any sense. But the heart is the source of the solar, S-O-U-L-A-R, sun. And this is something that nobody's ever talked about, because when I and I'll just say this now, and I've mentioned it, I think, in a video, one of my earlier videos, is that people go like, when I ask them, what is the first chakra? And they go, well, Joe, it's super simple. It's the root chakra. It's the red one. And I'm like, you're wrong. Because if you look at all of God's creations, from our solar system to a galaxy to the universe, it's all a circular spin. It all has the, from our sun to the grandson of the Milky Way to the great sun of the universe, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So our solar sun, the first chakra that is formed, is the heart chakra. It is the first organ formed in the body. It is the first chakra. All other chakras expand and break off, if you will, blossom, because this is the experience that we're having this lifetime, from the heart chakra. And guess what? Because people talk about like the soul chakra or soul star chakra and different things. I'm like, okay, number one, you go back to ancient Sanskrit, and again, most people copycat other people. In ancient Sanskrit, there are no chakras outside of the physical body, period. So when I see someone talking about all these chakras that are above their head, I immediately know they are a knucklehead. I'm saying that in a nice way. Well, maybe not knucklehead, but they're just uninformed, right? I mean, they don't know what they're talking about. They've copied someone else's ideals. They haven't really tapped into the true source to really understand, because what's going to happen when we evolve and leave this body? Do we have like 7 little balls like a TV cartoon or something kind of bouncing around and that's who we are? No, we become back into one and integrate all the experiences through the chakra systems that we have, depending again where you're from, what your soul or star seed equivalent is. Could be 9, could be 12, could be something else, but it's all contained within the physical body. So all those are reintegrated into your solar sun, if you will, that aspect of God, and you go off as this solar sun into that next evolution. And then you reopen or blossom again, and most people just don't understand that. They don't get that. It's like, because when you die, you don't have these 7 little balls of chakra energy running around after you die. It's like, no, that doesn't happen like that. I don't even know why people would even think that. I mean, and if you do think that, you probably shouldn't be on this channel. Well, no, I'm just totally kidding. Stay here, because I teach very unconventional teachings that I have been led to because of a near-death experience, and so I've got insight into things that the majority of spiritual teachers do not have. And I will get into maybe some of the real colors of the chakras. Like the root chakra is not red, it is white. It is an earthly energy. So, but that will be a different story for a different time. What's important to know now is, as I was talking about Kundalini, when you do Kundalini, you exert a pressure which creates a piezoelectric effect. And that shoots up to the crystals in your third eye. And those crystals in your third eye activate like an old style crystal radio, and you attune, right? You have that frequency construct because the pressure of the crystals coming together is what opens the sight in the knowledge for that. But you have to remember, it's from a physical aspect. It's from sexual, earthbound energy that you are enabling or activating the construct of your third eye. So that is a physical construct, a box within the physical. What I want to do, and what I've been taught to do, and this is really important, goes back to the Tibetan teachings of the layman, the commoner, which is the third eye versus the heart. Because if I am tapping into the wellspring of God, the God force, the solar sun within me, and I am producing this, I am creating a completely different resonance, a completely different set of frequencies that are more godly than I would ever do with the Kundalini and bringing up that sexual energy. Because now my third eye, the Anja chakra, is actually attuned to the love that is bringing forth through this electromagnetic standpoint, which creates a piezo-magnetic effect. So piezo-magnetic, which again attunes the crystals based on magnetism. This is the magnetics, the science of the godliness within you. So it's while your body, your physical body is electric, the magnetics is the godly aspect. And this is what is the radiance, the radiation of love, is that magnetics of love. And this is what attunes the third eye. And so I can tell you that while I've never done crystals or shungite or whatever for the opening of my third eye, I mean, there are people out there that drink borax. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but whatever works. But again, they're trying to open their third eye because some crazy teacher has said, do this or use crystals. Well, you're still looking at a physical solution. And if your solution is based in the physical, then the resonance that you will create, the sight that you're able to see, is going to be based in the physical. But as the Tibetans talk about, and even before the Tibetans, but I'll make this video super long. But before that, the heart and the resonance, the piezo-magnetic aspect of the God force within you activates the third eye so you can see beyond this. And then what also happens is you have the ninth chakra, which a lot of people get confused about, but this is what was shown to me. And again, depends on the star seed in which you are. Some things could be a little different. There is no cookie cutter, but I can tell you there are no chakras outside the body. But the ninth chakra for me is right here in the base. It's called the mouth of God. The medulla oblongata, or I can't even pronounce it. It gets kind of crazy. But this mouth of God is considered to be the burning bush. This is how God communicated to Moses. And again, it operates off the frequency of love of God. And so if you are getting messages because of Kundalini, you are tapping into a physical type person, really in the astral, which is why I talked about the astral earlier, because you're getting deceitful communications from potentially deceitful, let me say that, from beings, demonic, shadowy, dark, that exist and reside within the astral realm. That is what's happening with Kundalini. You think it's cool, you think you've got this great grand thing going on, but you're really just tapping into a very physical, lower dimensional aspect. And I know there are Kundalini teachers out there that are like going, what the heck, Joe? Well, that's great. If you want to say that from this is a platform from where you are, and now you move and exchange, transcend, transmute where your teachings are, and really focus on your heart. One of the biggest, what was told to me years ago when I started my journey, the biggest journey that you can have while in physical form is from your head to your heart. So moving everything up, and now even Heart Math and others have proven that the heart sends more information to the brain sends to the heart. The heart really is a conductor. So it is like you have a symphony within your body. It controls and conducts everything because it is the essence of your God self. And when you activate that, again, the resonance of who you are becomes who you become. And it's like this blossoming effect, and this activates the ninth. This is the true mouth of God as taught by the Tibetans, by the ancients. So when you get information, it now comes through the mouth of God, just like Moses. If you are doing Kundalini, you're probably not even aware of the mouth of God. And it is something that I want to impress upon you that just whether you, I invite you to take a look at your who's been teaching you. And are they teaching you to stay in this reincarnation cycle or to blossom and become more? And do they truly understand what that means? Because I have talked, and I will continue to talk about the law of attraction as being totally demonic. Because attraction is something that pulls the concave spherical shape of this God force out of shape. It elongates it and actually pulls it in and distorts it. It distorts your God self. So you are not able to contain this spherical and continue to blossom. And guess what? The law of attraction in my teachings by Spirit, it was designed to keep you here and keep you reincarnated. It is simply based in materialism. Like I want a new boyfriend or girlfriend or partner or whoever that might be. I want a new car or a new house. How can I win the lottery, right? This is all based in materialism. This is the lower aspects of the lowest chakra. So unless you actually, so there are lessons to be learned within the physical. But I also want to remind you that we are here to graduate. And the only way to graduate is to walk heart first, is to move up and have this heart blossoming, this aspect, this God force within you blossom so that you could share this amazement with the world. And with that, I love you. And remember, piezoelectric versus piezo-magnetic. Piezomagnetics, actually, very few people, I don't know of any other teacher out there outside of some ancient Tibetan texts that I've read even talk about piezomagnetics, because that is the attunement to God. And what's crazy, and I'll share this with you as I close up, and I've pointed this out once or twice before in some of my very early videos, but I actually have a indentation right here where my third eye is. And that happened when I started opening up my heart. Had nothing to do with Kundalini, had nothing to do with taking borax or putting crystals here or there. Actually had to do with the expression of love. And what happened, this is really kind of cool, is my spirit animal, which is a badger, I've got a couple, but a badger in this instance was the one that I could see and I could feel clawing through the detritus of this physical gunk that had like clogged up my third eye to open it back up. And when it did, it created an actual indentation. And I know some of you are going like, Joe, I don't want an indentation on my middle of my forehead. Well, I didn't either. Just one of those things that happen. So, but with that, this was all based on the heart. It wasn't based on Kundalini. I mean, I've never seen anyone with a Kundalini type experience even talk about anything like this. But like I said, there is a time and a place for Kundalini. Kundalini can be used when done right to heal the physical body. And Joe Dispenza, who I have great respect for, he's just an amazing teacher, teaches this particular aspect of healing with Kundalini. And actually, it's even more powerful because when it gets a room together, you're actually tapping into an overall healing energy that is boundless. And this is why people that have like terminal illnesses and things, after his 3, 4, 5-day workshops that he holds around the world, walk out completely healed. I mean, people that are crippled get up and walk out. And this isn't some kind of like crazy fake evangelistic preacher. I mean, I've got great respect for Joe Dispenza. He is a true missionary. And what he is doing with Kundalini is truly, I believe, what was truly meant. And certainly, I think it also has ways to prolong, and not only just heal, but prolong life when done the right way. But again, there are things that are a path that is for the master, which is through the heart, which you can also do all these things, but it's much harder to learn. And I'm still learning. I mean, I will learn to the day that I transition out of my body during this lifetime, because the heart and mastery of the heart in love and being able to share and bathe others in this infinite unselfish love that is originating, this God force, this burgeoning, blossoming God force within me, that's something that I will be doing and practicing on extending throughout until I take my last breath in this lifetime, and then I'll continue on and work on this practice into and through my next lifetime. So with that, I love you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I know it's kind of a crazy topic today, but it's really important to understand, are you going to take the path of the commoner, or are you to take the path of the master, the adept? And for me, I stumbled across this accidentally, meaning that when I had my NDE and fell on my head, this was awakened within me. So I'm sure I had a past life that I taught this before. And again, my whole goal and mission for you is to help you break the reincarnation cycle. You will not break the reincarnation cycle and move on. I can guarantee you, maybe there's a few exceptions, but for the most part, with Kundalini, you will only move on outside of this and graduate from this game and this dimension by using the heart and the solar sun, this radiance of God love, this God force within you. And that's what I wish for every single one of you. Now, with that said, you always have a choice to come back as a bodhisattva, which may be why I'm here. I'm not sure. But the bodhisattvas choose love and bringing this love and these teachings back. And the only way that I can think of that I know these teachings is I made that choice. I know, I came back during crazy times. But again, that's probably why I'm here. Anyway, I love you guys. Leave me comments, hit the like button, all that kind of stuff, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.